ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Roundtable Talk. My name is Robert Bannon. I'm so excited that you're here. If you like and want to continue watching and sharing and all of the fun things, make sure you just like, comment, share, and subscribe right here on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever you're watching this show. And we have a really fun show for you today. Nothing excites me more than to talk to artists about songwriting, about creating art, especially creating art during these crazy times. We just come out of the most crazy times probably of, well, hopefully, of our lives. I better be careful about that. And I want to know, Kyle Motsinger is here, and I have questions because I want to know how you go from being in Fancy Nancy all the way down his career into having these beautiful singles and music and out that's about, he has a great artist that has really, really beautiful song. I heard the song Bad Years, and if it has strings, background singers, key changes, and a reference to Meryl Streep, I'm in. Kyle's here. Kyle, welcome to the Roundtable.
Hi, I'm so glad you appreciate the strings and the Meryl.
Strings and Streep. That could be the whole album.
It's got everything. It's got strings. It's got Meryl.
Yes, it's the hottest song right now in New York City. I feel like I'm watching Saturday Night Live. It's called Bad Years. It has Meryl Streep. It has key changes. Congratulations. The song is beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you liked it.
You're not allowed to hear yet, everybody, because it's streaming this Friday. No matter where you are in the world, make sure wherever you listen to your music on February 3rd, listen to it. All you got to do is, it's Bad Years. It's Kyle Motsinger. And we're fancy here, Kyle. Don't sleep on us. Hold on. We have just stream it away on Friday, the 23rd. If you want more information before we get into who, what, when, where, why, and how, you can go to his website, and you could also follow him on the Instagram for more information and reminders about what's going on. So Kyle, tell me everything about your whole entire life. Go. No, where are you from, Kyle?
So, well, here's an exciting, I was looking at your YouTube page today, and I saw that you did a monologue from the Spoon River Anthology.
Yes, I sure did.
I'm from Spoon River.
You're from Spoon River.
Yes. Well, it's not a town like it is in the book, but it's an area of towns, and that's where I'm from. And it's in Illinois, so it's like the very dead center of Illinois.
I'll pull the book right off the shelf.
Yes.
I went to William Esper for Meisner, for a 2-year Meisner, and in the second year, you have to do a Spoon River anthology, and I hated it because I didn't, I'm not a very classically, like, that is not my acting style.
Sure.
To fall into that character became fun, and he's a whole different person than me. So the fact that you saw that and then you're from there is the funniest thing ever. So it's not all murder and terrible things going on in Spoon, because that's what the book is kind of like.
Or is it? I don't know. I mean, every small town has its secrets and its bodies in the closets, and I was in a closet once. I came out of that. So
listen, I came from a small town in New Jersey, and I was also in a closet and came out. And now there are no closets left to be had.
Yes.
You decided at some point in your life that you like art, and you decided at some point to dig a hole and leave Spoon River. So what was the moment that you decided, hey, I'm an artist? And then part two, when did you decide that you were going to try to make a living out of it?
So I did a lot of community theater. I did all the little musicals. There was a barn theater nearby my house that we did shows in. And then I went to college and majored in musical theater.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Western Illinois University.
Okay.
And then I came home for a little bit after college to figure out, to rally and sort of figure out where I was going to go. I was thinking about going to Chicago first, but then I visited New York for the first time and just fell in love with it in a way that, I liked Chicago, but New York City really felt like home. So I kind of got whatever money I could together, although, I maxed out a bunch of credit cards in order to get here. And then I moved in 2011. and I knew that I was going to go to the city and do, you know, theater, and I thought maybe I could do some music. But at that point, I wasn't really writing a lot of my own stuff yet. But I thought maybe it could be a part of my future. And yeah,
So you've been in New York City for 12 years.
11.
11 years. That's quite the accomplishment,
Yeah,
especially as an artist. And so congrats on that.
thank you.
That's um so what was some of your early New York City life jobs?
Oh my gosh. Well, I had transferred from the Barnes and Noble in Peoria, Illinois, to the one on Fifth Avenue.
Which is a very fancy Barnes and Noble. With it has good book signings and stuff there.
It does, but at the time, and I don't know what it pays now, but at the time in 2011, it was paying $9 an hour, and
You,
you sure couldn't live off of that.
you can't live. Are you saying you can't live in Manhattan in New York City on $9 an hour, Kyle?
No, no. So I also, you know, another job, I was one of those ticket sellers in Times Square, saying Broadway show tickets, you know, discounted tickets, you know, one of those guys
Not like in the booth, like you were like
in the
handing.
cold, like yes. There was a company, I guess I shouldn't probably mention it, but there was one that is in the Marriott, I believe, if it's still there, I think. And you would stand and it would be discounted tickets, and you would try to get people to go see The Lion King or whatever.
Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a grind. Now, at this time, were you auditioning for musicals? Were you writing music?
I wasn't writing too much yet. I had written, I think, one, you know, kind of cabaret style song. But I was auditioning and auditioning, and a year into living in New York City is when I got Fancy Nancy the musical.
Fancy Nancy the musical.
There it is.
Fancy Nancy the musical. And that experience of doing Fancy Nancy the musical, was that musical it stayed in one place, or you traveled with that musical?
It stayed in one place for a while. We were at the McGinn Casale Theater on
Okay.
76th, right?
Sure.
And we were there for a while, and then we also did like a little mini tour with it. And then we got to do a cast recording on Ghostlight Records.
Yes. When you Google search Fancy Nancy the musical, the album comes up, so you can listen to the album of Fancy Nancy. And if you are a teacher like I am in real life, and you teach younger children, they know all about the Fancy Nancy for sure. So what moment did you decide, hey, it's time for me to finally I'm going to record? What was your first single that you recorded and released?
Well, so the whole thing sort of happened where it was after Fancy Nancy. I was in a relationship. I was kind of not auditioning. I kind of got lost in the relationship. You know, that happens sometimes, and I think I was trying to, yeah. And so I was sort of writing these little secret songs on my own. I My ex had introduced me to Tori Amos, and something about Tori's music really kind of got to me, and it made me want to write like songs about what I was going through and myself.
So what is your writing style then? Do you play piano? Is it guitar?
Yes, I play piano.
Okay.
And yeah, I sort of, you know, for that beginning time, it was really kind of like I was going to do a cabaret show at the Duplex, and I was going to just sort of write all these songs and sort of do it as like a cabaret. And then it sort of morphed into more of an album. And then I recorded it. This was probably fall of 2016 that I recorded that.
So you wrote all of the songs. They were like a journal. Are you somebody who do you write the lyrics first? Do you write the music first? How does it work for you?
It's a little. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit at the same time, but it depends. Um, Often it'll be an idea for a song, like a little morsel of a song, like maybe it's the title of the song or it's just like an idea, and then it'll grow from there. Like I remember that first album, I was like sitting on a park bench just on my phone on the notes app, you know, just sort of like typing away, and I would have like bits of music done, and then I would, you know, maybe be like humming into my voice memo app and that sort of thing.
I ask these questions because I genuinely, I've released music, I've sung music, I love music. I can't write for Jack. I just look, I could take a notebook. I could have the worst day ever. I could try to write it. And I don't hear it. I
That's
just,
okay. I've heard your voice. You've got a great voice, so you can interpret other people's music.
Kyle, listen, you don't even have to add, you don't have to butter me up. I'll just sing. Most of it.
Fine,
No,
perfect. You can do the Kyle Motsinger album. I love it.
it's their deal. I come cheap. Trust me. No,
That's what I heard about you.
no, it's you. But you got that right. I, I'm fascinated by it because I want to. I love putting together cabaret shows. I love telling stories. I love doing a monologue. I love building and structuring something. And a song, in essence, Liza Minnelli said a song is a monologue, and
So true.
I can't. It's such a block in me that when I speak to someone who's a writer, I'm so fascinated that your brain can think in terms of chord structures and lyrics. We had Dar Williams, the singer, on recently.
I will go back and watch that episode because I love her so much.
Well, if you don't mind me telling, she has a book called "Write a Song That Matters," and she came on and she was saying, "Well, if you don't play chords," because I was like, I could play a C and a G7 and an F and sometimes an F sharp, and she laughed and she was like, "Well, if you have friends that play chords, you write an idea and you sit whatever." Long story short, Dar Williams then decides to come to my school and teach my students how to write music for free out of like the goodness of her Dar Williams heart.
Oh,
But so she tells me that it's just piece by piece, and I think I have ADD and I can't sit. Kyle, you probably have a drawer full of songs that are not finished or you've
oh,
tinkered with.
oh yeah, yeah. On my phone, I've got so many unfinished things, and sometimes, Tori Amos talks about this, about how she thinks it's sort of like the muses that sort of download into your head like little bits of, some people call it God, some, whatever. It's like you get these little ideas, and sometimes I'll write it down and I'll look at it like a month later and be like, well, what's that? Like, I don't know what that meant. Or it'll be like, oh yeah, this is something I can keep working on.
I had a partner that was a songwriter and a singer, and he would have like, this is version 32, this is version 33. And then sometimes they would just never work. And I'm someone who can't even stand a notification on my phone. Never mind a song that does not get finished. So I'm fascinated because it really is an art, and you love the tinkering and the playing with it is such a part of a process. So take us to a song like "Bad Years." When you hear "Bad Years," everybody, on the 20th on February 3rd of the year 2023. When you hear the song, you'll understand that the song, if I may, spoiler alert, it's about some bad years that we've all gone through. It's
Yeah.
not your exclusive bad years. It's a collective bad years. So, meaning we've all gone through a crazy couple of years together. When was the moment you came up with this idea? And what inspired, I can imagine what inspired you, but what inspired you to write the song?
I mean, I think, and maybe you felt this way too. Like at a certain point over the last year, even, it was just like, when is this nightmare going to end?
Always. I feel that.
And honestly, it's not just the pandemic, it's the
No.
politics, it's the everything that just sort of compounds together. And I think I was just fed up, and I was, there was a point in time where, about a year and a half ago, where I was kind of blocked and I didn't know what to write about anymore. And really, that's when I was just like, well, I need to put this frustration down. And I just got this idea, and this is kind of where it begins, of what if I'm looking back on this time as the bad years, but I'll be looking back at it from a much better place, and it's a hopeful song, because I don't think it really is productive to just wallow in the pain of it. Um, I want there to be some hope in it. I mean, we can acknowledge the pain and the heartache, but I think it's important to have hope, even if it's, believe me, there are days where I don't believe my own writing, but but I think it's important to have this hope that one day we'll look back on this and not laugh. I don't know that we'll ever laugh at it, but we'll look back on it and think that least that's over with.
Well, when I listened to it, because I got a sneak peek, thanks Jeff and Len, who I love. I got a sneak peek and listened to it, and in the beginning, I didn't know what to expect, and it's called The Bad Years, and I was ready for a song about you in particular, and or an experience that you had, and then by the it's very catchy and it has a great hook to it, and the production of it is beautiful, and your instrumentation and the background vocals and the key changes, like all the jokes I made in the beginning are that it is beautifully well and done, and you sound beautiful.
Thank you.
But what moved me about it was I was expecting of the subject matter when I read about the press release to have this really sad, you know, woe is us kind of song. And there was a moment where I was like, oh no, like we lived this and I'm going to feel sad and we're going to have this cathartic moment and I'm tired. And then I listened to this song and it made me smile and it made me chuckle. And it made me have a moment where I remembered watching the movie. I remember I remembered some of the good parts of the bad years as well. And I think you really, and that's the beauty of art and what you do is that you encapsulated a moment in time that we'll be able to look back and remember in a really beautiful, sweet way. So thank you for sharing that. Really.
Oh, thank you so much.
It is really fun. I encourage you to go listen to Bad Years where music is heard on Friday. And if it's after Friday, well, then just go get it, go stream it right now. Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
So what is next?
There are about 9 more songs that need to get some vocals recorded on them. I basically have gotten all like the instrumentals down for a bunch of songs. And then that pesky thing called money happened where I had to sort of slow down a bit. So I think as I have money and whatnot, I'll be able to kind of finish a song at a time. And that seems to be what people like doing these days anyway, although I still believe in the album and the body of work. But I do think these songs will sort of come together eventually.
Why do you, I can answer this question for me, but it's, but why do you still believe in the album?
Because I'm a storyteller, and I think often, just like in musical theater where I come from, one song is not the entire story. And it doesn't even matter really to me if this song, you know, is completely like this other song. But when you look at it all together as a body of work, you realize where the artist is in their life. If it's a concept album, it kind of is a story in its own right. So I think I guess I just really believe in it as like a full story. And I feel like, these days, there are still artists that are doing that for sure. And, and that's what I still believe in. But, like I said, I'm excited to kind of, if I'm not going to put the whole album out at the same time, if I just kind of give you little bits of the story, at a time, and then it'll all come together.
There used to be a time where a couple of singles would lead to an album. So it's kind of that was the model. I feel the same way as you. When I put my album out, I even those covers, there was a story that was, at least in my head, it may not translate in your head, but in my head, there was a beginning, middle, and an end. And I felt very strongly that I was trying to create a mood and a setting throughout. If I would have just put a random song out, you may like the song, but as a whole, it was a mood and a feeling that I was trying to emulate in the writing. I think it's still something that's really valuable as artists.
Absolutely, and I'm excited to listen through your album. And
No,
I will. And here's the thing, what is also very exciting for probably you and I both is that when people listen to our albums, they will come up with maybe a different story than the one that we had intended. And it's totally valid.
Well, when you put this out and your other music that's been out as well, there are other music that's been out through the years of your life. people come, I'm sure people have reached out and songs have moved them, and they have meanings and stories, and they remind them of relationships, friends or family, and moments in time that are completely different than what you intended them to be. But that's the beauty of art. It's interpretive to however you are moved by it. And the song moved it. Your Bad Years definitely moved me. During what it made me think of is that during the pandemic, I was living on my own, and I'm not great by myself. So I that's why my therapist has a lot of
I'm wonderful by myself, so I'm sad for you that you're not.
I know, and I wish I was. I wish I was that person, and I can't be. So I moved into a house. It was a two-family house. My cousins were upstairs and the downstairs apartment was vacant. And when I think of those bad years now, I think of seeing my godchildren grow up, and I think of spending time together. We all went through this horrible experience in these bad years, but there was something that we could gain from it. And when I listened to the song, it brought me back to not the sadness, but the joy. So if you're looking for a moment, a little retrospective, and you want to hear a nice song that's a catchy and a good jingle, and you want to go for a walk, or you want to put it on while you're cleaning your house or doing the dishes, then you're going to want to definitely check it out when it comes out this weekend. And keep following and checking out all of Kyle's music that's still to come. You can follow him again on Instagram and on the website. You're a pleasure. I want you to put on I'm ready for a concert. I'm ready. I'm ready for the whole shebang.
Yeah. I have a band and I've been talking to them, and I just need to find a date and a venue. And then the most important thing is I need people to show up.
Yes. And listen, I give you so much credit because I don't think the general people watching right now, if you're not an artist, you don't understand how expensive it is to record music. You don't know how expensive it is to promote music. You don't know how expensive it is to the whole thing, to put it the whole thing. You make pennies and pennies and pennies. So support art, stream the music, download the music, and definitely buy a ticket when somebody is having a show, because that money that they make from that show is going to give them the money to create more art.
Exactly.
It's important.
Oh, thank you, Robert.
Kyle,
Thank you.
you're a joy.
You are too. I'm so glad I'm meeting you.
I'm so glad to meet you. I can't wait to meet you somewhere around the boroughs of New York City.
Oh my God, we probably walked past each other a million times over the last several years.
We probably had. And I was just like, oh, he looks like someone from Spoon River, so I'm scared. But now now we're friends. So that's it.
Perfect.
It's done. It's done. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to everybody streaming and listening to the song, and for all the rest. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everybody.